Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the latest chapter review of Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn, chapter 268. Now, I've tried to record this a couple of times already, and I'm not going to lie to you guys and gals, mostly gals who watch these reviews, because it's a shoujo, and that's fine, you know. But I'm not going to lie to any of you. The reason that this is my third or fourth time trying to record this, is that every time I start talking about this chapter, I'm going off on the rails. I'm going off on tangents about why this chapter did not sell me. And I realized after recording it once, okay, no, I'm wasting too much time. I'm babbling, you know. And then doing it again and again. And I was watching it back, and I just realized is that I don't have a good reason as to why this didn't work. Okay? So what I mean by this is, the chapter opens up with the end of the last chapter. The dragon gods are threatening Hawk, and we have the whole emotional scene where they're trying to, it's Worm Tongue 101. They're trying to poison Yona's mind. They're trying to use their silver tongue to say, we will kill him, we will do this, we will do that. Soo-won even says later on in the chapter, if I wanted to make Yona do anything, I put Hawk on the chopping block. I put Hawk on the scales. That's going to make her do what you want. If nothing else, that's your last resort, but it's the strongest motivation to get Yona to do something is to wager Hawk. So, I'm like, yeah, this all makes logical sense. And the fact that the dragon gods are recognizing this also makes sense. And is Yona breaking down? Is the art there? Do we get why this is really hurting her? And we get through her monologue in the first half of the chapter and it's all good? Yes. I'm just not buying it. I just don't know what it is. I tried to explain it multiple times, but I'm just going to say that I'm not trying to hate on the chapter. I think the chapter did a good job, but it didn't sell me. I don't know why. I'm just not... And what do I mean by not buying? Hawk is in no danger here. I don't believe Yona or Hawk are in any danger. I believe they are going to get out of this situation. I believe that the whole thing. When the scales were different, when it was like, holy shit, Shin-Ah has actually now lost his eyesight, likely for the rest of the story. It's like, okay, that had weight. That was on this. We didn't even know that was on the chopping block, and it got taken from us. It's like, okay, this is do or die. This is dangerous. The tensions are rising. The stakes have never been higher. Meanwhile, with this situation, it's so cookie cutter. It's so one-dimensional. Every single piece of media with a touch of romance has ever done this. Threaten the main love interest. I haven't even fired up the barbecue, let alone put the steaks on the grill yet. There's no stakes to go high at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting here like, okay, this is very emotional. It's supposed to be, but it's not penetrating anywhere in here. You know? I'm not feeling it. I don't know what it is. I'm just not. It was well done art. The manipulation was well. It wasn't rushed. It makes sense. Yona's idea, like how the dragons are describing it, how Yona is completely like, it's my fault that Hawk will die, blaming herself, of course. It's like she wants to give up anything. She won't give up Hawk, and then she realizes that up to this point, if she hadn't had Hawk, she would have been dead so many times. And this is true. Without Hawk, she would have died a long time ago. Multiple different instances where if Hawk wasn't there, she'd be dead. She'd be roadkill. So she's recognizing this and going, but now, and I'm going to give you up and stuff, like I could never let you die and stuff. This should be. And I feel like if the anime had continued, this scene reworked with the right music, with the right voice acting, would definitely have worked. But I think that this is written and drawn as more of a screenshot of an anime with music in mind and the right voice acting in mind, and I'm just not able to hear it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? You know how some things are better in written form, some things are better visual, some things are better by the ear. I think that this scene is one of those ones which is drawn and meant to, they had this image of it being on the big screen in their mind, and they did it shot for shot, and it's just not working shot for shot. Because a manga and an anime, while being very similar, also have that key difference of sound. And this without sound is not working for me. I don't know exactly what part of it isn't, but I'm just not buying it. As emotional as it is, the art is fantastic. Yona, should be breaking my heart here. I don't think Hawk's in any real danger. I'm not buying that Hawk's in any danger from this scene. This scene is supposed to tell me that Hawk is, anything can happen, and Hawk's life is in the balance. And I believe that Yona's outcome was in the balance before. I believe the dragon's livelihood, that maybe Zeno would die. I didn't know that the dragons were going to lose limbs. That was on the chopping block, and that's scary as hell. And holy shit, we have consequences. But I don't think there's any consequences from this threat. I don't think Yona's ever truly going to accept the deal. And Hawk is not going to die. I'm not buying it. And even if he dies, quote unquote, okay. He's not going to die. He's going to die like they die in Dragon Ball sort of level die. You know what I mean? They're going to die like, in the end of Darksider's going to die. You know what I mean? Break the seventh seal and the horseman comes back to life. That's what's going to happen here. So I just don't feel the weight or that there's any real consequence from this action. So maybe that's why it's just not working for me. That being said, after that scene and we see soo-won and Hawk trying to work together, Zeno comes out of the chalice. There's all this crazy stuff going on, and Zeno's immediately like, listen, we'll talk later, I gotta jump back in here. And soo-won's like, whoa, we've been waiting this whole time, we have no idea, you have to, you can spare 5 minutes, let us know on what's going on. So we thankfully skip that, and they just have the quick download, right? It's like, so you were the only one to make it out, blah blah blah. And Hawk's immediately like, I'm getting in that damn chalice. And Zeno's like, no, you can't. And he's like, well, I'm gonna fucking try. And you know what I mean? And that's definitely our Hawk and stuff like that. So they talk about all these things. Soo-won even rationalizes Zeno, saying, listen, if you go back in, what's to stop the exact same thing from happening? You just tried to get out. You were the only one who made it out. Obviously, going back in, how does that change the end result? We need to come up with something. We have to figure it out. So Zeno goes very pessimistic, sort of like I am about the emotional weight of this chapter. I'm not feeling like the emotional weight in me. We're cut off for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe it's my mood. Maybe. You guys got to let me know. You ladies, let me know. Am I missing something, or did you guys feel the same sort of detachment in this chapter? Like it wasn't hitting as hard or as home as it should be, Zeno brings up the pessimistic attitude of the prophecy and stuff. The words of the Crimson Dragon here is that the Crimson Dragon returning at dawn might actually mean that when dawn strikes, it means that the Crimson Dragon has finally returned to the heavens. We took it to mean that the kingdom, maybe we misread the prophecy. A prophecy that misread could have been. Okay, that's a terrible Yoda impression, but anyways, point is, I'm not Frank Oz. Hawk immediately does his Hawkness, and we like Hawk being Hawk, right? And he's just like, so you're telling me that the 4 dragons made it all the way here. We went through all that just so the princess could go to the heavens that she doesn't want to go in? They sure are walking all over my princess right now. Yeah, I got a bone to pick sort of idea. And I'm like, yes, Hawk with a bone to pick. Let's go. We always like Hawk with a bone to pick because everyone's like, yeah, no, but he's got no special powers. Doesn't matter. It's Hawk, right? That's literally the end of everything. Fairy Tail made fun of that fact. It's Urza. Yeah, and that was bullshit for power scaling. We like that level in our shoujo. We like the fact that, it's Hawk. So, I mean, rules don't apply, right? So, that's what I like about this. So, Soo-won brings up what I already said. Like, what would I do? I would put Hawk on the scale sort of idea, and that's immediately where the Dragon Gods actually grab him. So it's like, okay, how is we going to get Hawk into the chalice? How are we going to do this? And the Dragon Gods immediately, they grab him. We're like, okay, wait a minute now. Did she reject the deal? We don't know. So this actually adds some tension. It's a very well done scene. Soo-won and Zeno. Soo-won being smart, immediately picking up the Crimson Dragon sword like this thing can hurt them. And is going to cut the arm off to stop them from taking Hawk back from the chalice. But Hawk says immediately, like, yeah, they really want to see me? Don't do that. I'm counting on you guys. I'll figure something out. So wait, I'm counting on you. Now, this is where Zeno and, immediately Zeno's like, no, wait, and Soo-won tries and then hesitates because Hawk said no. Boom. This is actually a really good scene with Soo-won, is that he immediately, he drops the sword to his side and he just says, I'm counting on you. It says, you really do ask me the most absurd, things like that. Soo-won, once again, letting his armor down. He realizes he needs Hawk. He needs Yona. Hawk is his bro. Hawk is his man. You know what I mean? Like, this is just the bromance of manga, So this is really good. I like this because Hawk immediately is once again relying and said, hey, I'm counting on you. That, Soo-won's cold, dead heart going, boom, boom. Friendship 101. The power of friendship done right. It's a wonderful thing. When it's used as a trope, it's awful. But when it's used properly, power of friendship is awesomely written in Yona. That's for damn sure. So, well-written scene between Soo-won and Hawk, subtle as it is. Still, in my opinion, the best relationship in Yona of the Dawn is actually, as I know people love Yona and Hawk, and it's a great romantic relationship, but it's very classic. Soo-won and Hawk is, in my opinion, a more unique one. And definitely, in my opinion, the best, the most three-dimensional and well-written one. I've stated this before. So, love to see that. Now, the end part of the chapter, we jump back in here. The Crimson Dragons have taken Hawk, and Hawk's looking a little more beat up than he was when they first grabbed him and stuff like that. And they said, what did you do to him? And he said, the minds and bodies of normal humans break down here due to the blood of the gods. He's not dead, but obviously this area, so this place is taking a toll. So Hawk can't use his full strength. He can't survive here. Of course, we had to nerf Hawk a little bit. Otherwise, he would not just be the Thunder Beast. He'd be the God Slayer at this point. He'd be the Dragon God Slayer at this point, right? So, yeah, we had to nerf Hawk. Otherwise, it's an unfair fight for the three Dragon Gods. So immediately Yona comes here, and it's obvious that... So, I like how they did this. The Dragon Gods granted Yona one wish to be able to say her goodbyes to Hawk before she accepted the contract, accepted the deal to return to the heavens. So this is inferred very early on, and it's nice. We didn't need to see them spell that out for us. They just went and did it, and then we jump back to real time, right? Well done for pacing purposes, 100%. So they're like, no, you can't touch him. You can't do anything. You want to say your goodbyes, say them here. Hawk seemingly is unconscious, so Yona says, I'll definitely get the three dragons back. I'll protect them. Don't worry, and tell everyone that Yon and Lily and everyone that I said thank you, and I have to, and she immediately, now this part I will admit. So the first half of the chapter, as I said, emotional cutoff. The train wasn't running through, right? This particular page, I think this was handled well. This end part definitely was starting to get a bit more in the feels, maybe the way it was drawn. It was drawn less like an anime scene that requires your music, or a webtoon, that requires voice acting and music and tone and pacing. This one reads more like an emotional manga panel and page, and we just get the idea, like I said, thank you, I have to hurry, I have to send Hawk back, and then she, she can't do it, she's rushed for time, she wants to say a million things, and she doesn't know what the right words are. She's trying to come up with everything, and she's like, no, wait, I need more time, like, these can't be, it's finally, the weight of it is dropping down on her all at once, and it's actually burdening her, and that's why she bends down and stuff, like the weight is actually hurting her, and she's bending down, holding her face in her hands and just being like, this isn't enough. I have more to say. This can't be the last thing. Like, what's the last thing I have to say to him? Like, he's my everything. Like, it's that part. This part is definitely working in that, as I said. The first half of the chapter is not working for some reason. This part is definitely working. Now, this is where immediately Hawk wakes up. Oh, no. She's not done talking, Dragon Gods. So he was just playing dead. He was playing dead the whole time just to see what was going on, grab some intel. Hawk 101. So he's just like, you barely said anything, princess. What? Man, you're kind of merciless, aren't you? And stuff like that. Hawk's like, wait a minute, what about me? He's like, you were like, the Dragon Gods, Yon, Lily and stuff. What about me? I'm the one who's here. Like, what about me? So Hawk just giving that levity to the situation in a very emotional situation. I like that. I really enjoy that aspect because that's very Hawk. So this is feeling a lot more like Hawk and Yona are. And immediately said, well, my head's throbbing, but okay, this is heaven. Interesting. And immediately he's like, Hawk, you believe? He's like, so I got a question. Are you injured? Just ignoring Yona completely. He's like, no. He's like, Zeno's on Earth? Yeah. Yona's in Kuto? Yeah. And so the dragon gods are like, the Crimson Dragon is about to return to the heavens. This is our last act of kindness. You know? So if you have anything to say, please say it now before we, whatever. And then immediately, the end of the chapter, which this part, I get it. He's like, all right. Will you marry me? I mean, okay. I was not expecting that. Timing is everything, Hawk. But, I mean, if this is technically the last time they're going to see each other, then yeah, why not get married first? So, I mean, my parents been together over 40 years, and my dad basically looked up at my mom from the couch one day and said, maybe we should get married. And she went, yeah, sounds like a good idea. So, there was no proposal with my parents, really, either. It was like, we should get married. Good idea. Sounds like a plan, So, in the same regard, Hawk is very, not exactly doing the TikTok, the Instagram, the, taking you on to the top of the Ferris wheel and giving you that Disney princess, level treatment that is recorded so all your friends can be jealous and you can get all the reels on Instagram and all the likes and shit. The expectations on guys is absolutely ridiculous. Guys, I'm just going to give you a word of advice from a man who knows absolutely nothing clearly about relationships. But, as a guy whose wife left him, let me tell you one thing. If your wife is not satisfied, I don't care if you make $1 or $1 million a day. If your wife only cares about the wedding and the proposal being picture Instagram perfect, need I say more? I don't think I need to spell that out any more than I do, because if you don't get where that rest of that sentence was going, nothing I say is going to help you, you poor sods, you poor bastards. So yeah, this actually works incredibly well. It's very Hawk. We've seen Hawk do this before when he admitted his feelings for her and stuff like that back at the camp and things like this. Hawk is always just out, unabashed, just saying what he's thinking, saying what he feels. He wears it on his front. There's very few secrets when it comes to Hawk, and it's quite refreshing from a character perspective, and it's refreshing for, when you have different opposite type of characters to bounce that off of, right? So, Hawk is here giving a marriage proposal, literally in heaven, while being threatened to be murdered by dragon gods unless they are separated for all time. I mean, we already saw how great the power of friendship works in Yona the Dawn. How about the power of love, power of marriage? You know what I mean? Power of friendship, power of love. Let's try that. Let's try that. I've lost a lot of faith in marriage, obvious reasons, but still could work for other people. So let's give Hawk and Yona a good old-fashioned try, shall we? No, I really think that this threw me for a loop. I think it threw a lot of people for a loop. I have no idea what marrying Yona at this point is going to achieve. So this one sort of threw me, okay, where are we going with this? What direction are we taking with this one, right? But other than that, yeah, as I said, first half of the chapter did not hit me correctly. Once we got past that and back to the Koka Kingdom with Zeno and soo-won and Hawk and stuff, things were getting a little better. The emotion definitely hit here at the end of the chapter. So once again, I think what happened was this was a scene because as a amateur writer who never published shit, but as somebody who has drawn manga panels and drawn his own, comics, manga, and written scene after scene since I was a child, right? I have notebooks I can show you guys about that. Just stupid amount of things from every genre, right? From someone who's done that, there's definitely those times where you have this song or this melody, you know exactly the tone you want, the sound you want, the voice. You can basically close your eyes and you can see this in a movie theater. You can see the scene that is in your head perfect, like it's been made by Hollywood, right? And I think that what happened here is that was translated directly, and unfortunately it does not work when it's silent page by page. That's all that I think is that happened. But maybe I'm once again just reading way too much into it, is what it is. Overall, I think the chapter was fine. It just didn't hit me as hard as I'm sure it hit a lot of you. So once again, I'm not hating on the chapter. It just wasn't able to break through. We've seen this done a million times. Threaten the main love interest. We'll kill him. We'll kill her. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, the stakes have never been higher, right? And they always get away at the end of the day, right? So I'm just not buying the consequences of this particular threat. But we'll just have to wait and see how the rest of that goes. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys and gals, of course, thought in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully this one comes out a little. It's always late, but hopefully it's not like 2 weeks late and it's only about 5 or 6 days late. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. See you back here next time for chapter 269 of Yona the Dawn. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys and gals are too. Sayonara.